Personally, I was very active in highlighting the benefits of engagement with the Belt and Road Initiative, both within my own state government, where I live, plus on a national level. We were unsuccessful in getting the national government to take up the initiative to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative because that was opposed by the United States. The national government has abandoned the development of independent foreign policy. So there is a division between the national level policy approach and some state leaders. State leaders in Western Australia and Victoria recognise that this is not a good approach because it threatens our trade relationship. The reality is Australia's prosperity is dependent upon China's prosperity. It does not make any sense to abuse your customer. It does not make any sense not to join with what your customer is doing. If you are talking to your customers, if your Australia is working with China at a national level, then we can cooperatively develop policy and policy responses. But at the time at which the Belt and Road cooperation offer was made, we had a government, a national government, that was already in the grip of advice being given to it by some rather secretive security services that had a very strong United States orientation. That said, there are still Western Australia, Victoria, and other states like South Australia who see the importance of the China-Australia relationship and Australia's participation in Belt and Road. Australia will inevitably be forced to be involved in Belt and Road Initiative. And the reason for that is that Australia's major trading partners within the ASEAN region are all heavily involved in the Belt and Road Initiative. Those are countries that have already adopted Belt and Road protocols, standards, and processes. When you run a fast train in Indonesia, it's not just the physical infrastructure, it's the ticketing, it's the software for the maintenance of the railway, the points, the trains, the carriages. When you run a fast train from Yunnan to Kuala Lumpur and then to Singapore, it's more than just the hard infrastructure. Already we see that Indonesia has introduced what they call a single window entry process for their imports into the country. Singapore has just finalised a blockchain-based customs clearance process and has said quite clearly, if you adopt this process, then your ships will come to the head of the line for customs clearances. What's important is the Indonesian system, the Singapore system, both of them recognise and are consistent with BRI software protocols. If Australia wishes to increase its trade, if Australia wishes to maintain its trade and to have good access, rapid access to those markets, then it must inevitably recognise and adopt the standards that are being applied within the Belt and Road Initiative countries. The same, of course, applies to Australian exports to China. If we are using BRI protocols, if we are using Chinese cross-border protocols, if we are tapping into Chinese blockchain systems and standards, then our exports to China will be cleared more quickly. If we refuse to recognise those conditions, then, of course, exports slow down, business goes to the back of the line, things do not get progress quite as quickly. Now, the key factor is that business understands this. Businesses that are not necessarily involved with China and the BRI understand this because they are faced with a new set of conditions and a new set of processes. It will take time for business to adapt and to convince government that government also needs to recognise and to adapt. But whether Australia formally engages with the Belt and Road Initiative, I think in the immediate future remains a low probability. but business is already actively engaging and actively using Belt and Road protocols and processes.